And what's really funny to me is, I guess you'd say some of these haters, they're trying to come up with excuses. They're either not talking about it or they're trying to figure out as to how Colorado's 6-2. They can't accept the fact that Coach Prime's doing a heck of a job and this is a good football team. I've now started seeing some people saying, and I've seen in my comments, oh, well, Matt, because I've been giving Colorado credit. Well, Matt, Colorado, they're not playing anybody. Look at their schedule. They're in a weak conference. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great start to your week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, one thing you need to know about your boy Matt is I'm extremely big on giving credit when credit is due. Now, with that being said, it doesn't mean I'm not going to critique you because I'm going to do that as well. When it comes to college football, college basketball, any sport or anything we talk about on this channel, I firmly believe I'm the biggest critic out there. But, and I have an astronomically big but, I'm also your biggest fan out there, your biggest ally. You see, when your favorite team's doing good, nobody, I mean absolutely nobody's going to clap it up more than me, myself, and I for them. On the contrary, when your team's sucking it up and they're just playing some bad football, nobody's going to be harsher on them than me, myself, and I. I call things for how I see it, and I understand it completely. I don't expect you, even if it is the truth, I do not expect you to be thrilled when I say, oh yeah, your team sucks, your offense is terrible, defense is bad, and stuff like that. As a fan, I totally get it, 100%, when you stick up for your team when I say something bad about them. And you want to know what fan base was sticking up for their team through the thick and thin? The Colorado Buffaloes. I mean this in a good way. Those are some of the craziest, most passionate, and ride-or-die fans I've ever seen in my time covering college football on this channel. Last year especially, for better or for worse, you couldn't tell Colorado fans nothing. They straight up was like, hey man, we're going to turn this shipwreck around and you're either with us or you're against us. Speaking of last year, that leads me into my next point perfectly. It wasn't a good season. They got off to the amazing 3-0 start, but finished with a miserable record of 4-8. It is worth being mentioned they were in one of the better conferences last year, and that was the Pac-12. I mean, that was a gauntlet. But it doesn't matter how you slice or dice this up, ending the year on a 6-game losing streak, not good. And I said this all of last year, and it's not me hating or anything. It's the cold hard truth. And for some odd reason, Colorado fans have hating and analyzing mixed up. Yet again, I understand some of it's defending your team, but some of it was just delusional. There was people saying I was a Colorado hater when I came up here and said, yeah, they have a terrible defense and they suck, but is that hating or is that reality? That's a rhetorical question, by the way. I'm not really asking you. I'm telling you, it's reality. Or my apologies, it was reality last year. And some, not all, but some Colorado fans had this vendetta made up in their minds that Matt B. Great loves to hate on Colorado. Which is just ridiculous. My life doesn't change whether Colorado goes undefeated or loses every single game. I just call things for how I see it, and last year, they sucked. They were booty cheeks. And I gave that Colorado fan base and Colorado program HE double hockey sticks all year long, and really, part of this offseason and the beginning of this season. And like we started off the video, I'm going to be the biggest critic, but I'm also going to be your biggest ally and friend. Fast forward time into the season 2024, you know what it's time to do now? It's time to praise this Colorado football team, but not only the football team, I'm going to clap it up a little bit. The program. This program was left out to dry 2 years ago, and they stumbled across a man that goes by the name of Deion Sanders. Mr. Coach Brown has done nothing short of a fantastic job there, and look at this turnaround. It's amazing, and to me, it is hard to believe. If you would have told me 2 years ago Colorado was going to be sitting at a very impressive 6-2 in year number 2, I don't know if I would have believed you. Hindsight's 20/20, but not even looking at this program from 2 years ago, just looking at them last year, it is almost unbelievable. That defense last year couldn't stop a nosebleed. Look at them now. Speaking of not being able to stop a nosebleed, you could say the same thing for the offensive line last year. And now they have what I would label as a slightly above average defense. They got a ferocious front seven, and that offense is clicking on all cylinders. Do they have the greatest offensive line unit I've ever seen in my life? Absolutely not, but it's good. And what's really odd about this is when Colorado was losing last year, everybody was talking trash on them, everybody was hating on them, saying this and that. Everybody had an opinion. But now, I see they're 6-2, they're bowl eligible. And Mondays where you see a lot of people talking about stuff, but it's crickets. I'm going to go back to this. You can say what you want about me, feel how you want about me. You're entitled to your own opinion. Yeah, I criticize them, but now I'm giving them credit where credit is due. And I'm baffled at the fact that nobody's even talking about this Colorado team right now. I'll talk more about that in just a second, but let me show you where they were at in 2022. Colorado wasn't just one of the worst teams in the nation. In my humble opinion, they were the worst team in the nation. They finished the season 1-11, and I want you to take a look at some of these scores. Look at the last 4 games. 49-10, 55-17, 54-7, and 63-21. They didn't even have a game within 30. And now here we are, 2024, only 2 years later, 6-2, and they're really close, or they were really close, to beating Kansas State and being at 7-1. And what's really funny to me is, I guess you'd say some of these haters, they're trying to come up with excuses. They're either not talking about it, or they're trying to figure out as to how Colorado's 6-2. They can't accept the fact that Coach Prime's doing a heck of a job, and this is a good football team. Sometimes the answer's right in front of you, and to all the naysayers, I'm going to tell you right now, it's just as simple as Colorado's good. That's it. I've now started seeing some people saying, and I've seen in my comments, oh, well, Matt, because I've been giving Colorado credit, well, Matt, Colorado, they're not playing anybody. Look at their schedule. They're in a weak conference. If you're one of those people saying that, come on, man. Just give them some credit. Now, am I going to sit up here and act like the Big 12 is good? No, because they're not. It is a weak conference. But that still doesn't change the fact that Colorado's 6-2, and none of you who are saying the Big 12 is a weak conference thought Colorado would go 6-2. You see what I'm saying? So since Colorado has started out this good, you're now having to come up with something else and say, oh, well, yeah, I mean, they're doing okay, but look who they're playing. They're not playing anybody. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but against UCF, they just completely destroyed them. Same thing against Arizona, and I'd say the same thing against Cincinnati. That score's deceiving. That game was over in the third quarter. And against K-State, who a lot of people respect, they only lost by 3, and they were winning late in the fourth quarter. So this whole, oh, well, Colorado's not playing anybody, is there some validity to it? Yeah, but I think that's a loser mentality. Coach Prime has done an unreal job there, and I've said this since day one. In year one, I expected, or I thought the goal should be to win 3 or 4 games, and they did that. In year 2, I thought the goal should be 6 wins. In year 3, 8 or 9. In year 4, 9, 10, 11. Well, here we are in year 2, and they're already at 6. So I think he's way ahead of schedule. I also have a hard time believing they won't get to 8 wins because look at who they got left. Texas Tech, not very good. Utah, they suck this year. Kansas, they suck this year as well. And Oklahoma State, and they also suck. Unless Colorado can somehow sneak into that Big 12 championship, they're going to need some help. They're not going to make the playoff. Even if they win out, they just don't have the strength of schedule to do so. They could beat Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oak State by 20 apiece, and they're still not going to get into a playoff at an at-large spot. Within a year and a half, Coach Prime has turned this into a serious, legit program and a legit contender in the Big 12. I just can't get over how fast he turned this crap show around because look at Hugh Freeze in Auburn. Hugh Freeze is in year 2 at Auburn, and he might not even make a bowl game this year. Coach Prime's doing a fantastic job when it comes to recruiting, player development, the transfer portal, everything. These next 4 weeks are going to be really interesting because all of these are games that you should win. But that's also a weird place to be in if you're Colorado because ever since, Coach Prime got there, they've been doubted. Well, now they're going to be the favorites. And oh yeah, too, I didn't even bring this up, but we talked about it in a video earlier today. Colorado is now ranked inside the top 25. I'm going to go back to this. You can say all you want, and I see all the comments talking about, oh, well, the Big 12 sucks and Colorado hasn't played nobody. So here's my rebuttal to that. We're not giving credit to people anymore for taking care of business. I feel like there's a double standard sometimes when it comes to Colorado because when they beat a team they're supposed to beat, everybody's like, yeah, well, it doesn't count. I want to see them play somebody better. It's like the goalpost continues to move. It's like when they do something that people didn't think they could do in the first place, it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, let's see if you can do this. And then they do that, and it's like, okay, well, then let's see you do this, and then let's see you do that, and it goes on and on and on. It's a never-ending cycle. I'm not trying to sit up here and convince you that Colorado is one of the best teams in the nation because they're not. I'm just saying it's time to give credit where it's due. Coach Prime has done an unbelievable job there, and there's many more things I could say, but wanted off here. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below about that. Roman.